Hey, I'm Mac with Microjig, and this is the Cherry End Tables build. I'm going to show you the full process of how I created these two tables using a wide variety of excellent gear from Microjig. I started out at my local Woodcraft. I really like Woodcraft because they have an excellent variety of reasonably priced lumber and a huge selection of tools and a very knowledgeable and helpful staff. Plus, I've got to give them credit on an excellent Microjig display. I headed back to the lumber room and decided ultimately that I was going to be working this time with some cherry wood. So I picked up some cherry and some poplar for a different project, loaded it up on the car, and headed back to the shop. Once I had the material in the shop, my first stop was the miter saw. Today's episode is going to be about the processing and shaping of the legs. I'm cutting here just about a ½ inch longer than I intend the legs ultimately to be, just in case any mistakes are made. And you can see I'm cutting in layers so that I don't overwork or bind up my blade. I took the material over to my jointer, and since it's too wide to face joint, I'm just jointing one edge perfectly flat so I can put that edge up against my table saw fence when I'm cutting the width. I kept getting caught on this little divot in my jointer fence and was really frustrated until I found out it has a good purpose. That little black plate is made of plastic and is intended as the contact point between your fence and outfeed table on your jointer. It's going to keep them from scratching each other when you adjust. And it's adjustable itself so that with a few turns of some bolts, you won't have this problem. I used Microjig's grip block and gripper to cut to width of the table saw. The smart hooks on the grip block are really convenient for wide cuts like this. And they are an excellent tool for the bandsaw and the router table. Here you can see how easy it is to transfer that pressure from the infeed to the outfeed table as you move along, again using those smart hooks to have a really secure hold on the material. Next, I planed down the leg material to the general thickness that I had intended. After a few passes, I was ready to take it to the table saw and cut the width of my legs. I used 2 gripper to goes for my first cut because I knew I wouldn't need any attachments. But when it came to the thinner material, the balance support on the mainline grippers really came in handy. After cutting to width, I'm rotating the piece that I'm keeping and cutting it again on the same setting so I have a nice uniform leg stock. I marked the start of my taper on each side of the legs, and then I numbered each of the sides. This is really helpful when you're doing multiple tapered pieces, and you'll see how a little later on. I used the MICRODIAL Tapering Jig to taper each of these legs. It seems a little intimidating at first, but it's actually very simple and has a really cool memory locking function that helps when you're doing 4-sided tapers like this. So as you can see, it's a very fast process with this tapering jig because with nice tight tolerances on these uniform legs, I can just leave the saw at the same setting and cut all the 1 and 2 sides. And then here I'm quickly adjusting to a doubled angle so that the taper is uniform on all of the sides of the legs. Now we have 4 nicely tapered legs. My first instinct was to cut octagonal legs, so I started to rotate the blade 45 degrees, but I wanted to try something new and thought I would try a roundover bit. I really liked the results on this test piece that I cut. The smooth transition from square to round was really attractive to me, and it sort of guided how the piece evolved as I continued this process. I really like working from raw lumber to finished wood. And one of the reasons for that is that as I go and I see this transformation as I process the wood, I'm also feeling different layers of inspiration and trying different and new things as I build things. In this case, I had a very rough idea of what I wanted for my table, and as I'm building, I'm making decisions on the design and features that the table is going to have. There's nothing wrong with project plans. It's great and they're very efficient in terms of knowing how you're going to be doing each step. There's no guesswork involved. But I actually really like that part. I like having to figure it out as I go change the design, change my concept, and let it evolve as I look at the material and as I try new things. With that last round over cut, the shaping of our table legs is done. That's it for episode 1. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more episodes of this cherry end tables build. We're usually releasing on Saturday mornings. You can find links to all the Microjig products that I used in the description below. See you next time.